Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye has friends. No, really, Jeff has friends. Jeff's friends are on this podcast. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship.
Friendship.
Jeff Dye's podcast. Yeah, man, I love that little jingle. It makes me very happy. It gets caught in my head all day. I hope it's getting caught in your head. Thank you, Joe McKenzie, for making that for the podcast. I could just listen to that. I could listen to an hour of just the opening Jeff Dye podcast jingle. It makes me happy. Also, I love myself a lot, and my name's in it a lot, so that's why I like it. This episode is great. Episode 4 is another home run, in my opinion, because you got Tony Reavis in the house, Aaron Marsh in the house, and our guest is Chris Porter from Last Comic Standing, 2 Netflix specials. Great comedian, but also just a cool dude that I've known for a long time, so I was excited to have him at the house. We talk about a lot of stuff. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this. If you guys are listening to us, thank you. Please rate and subscribe and comment if you want to comment. And then if you're not watching us, you could be watching this podcast by subscribing to patreon.com/Jeff Dye. And you can watch the whole podcast in HD. And that's a lot more fun to watch because, you know, I've made a real cool room here. I want people to look at it. I want to be able to show off these wrestling figures. But anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and enjoy another great episode with my friend and now hopefully yours, Chris Porter. All right, guys, welcome back to Jeff Dye's Friendship, where I hang out with my friends. Today, my friends are, as always, Tony Reavis.
What up?
Right here in the house, producing, mixing, sounding, headphone
right.
wearing. Also, a staple, the Cal Ripken of this podcast, Aaron Michael Marsh.
Thank you very much. I'll be back again this next podcast too.
Also sick, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm on cold
sick.
medicine,
Attaboy.
so I'm a little high.
That's good. Don't talk too
Nice.
close to that mic because we don't want anyone else to use that mic and then get sick.
Well, I'll be the next one to use it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'll just
get
But
myself
you
sick
get
again.
yourself sick for next week.
Yeah.
Unless you
totally.
have polio right now and you die, and then we need to replace you.
Then this podcast is worth way more.
That's
That
true.
is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've just thought of something that might help sales. But I'm very excited about our featured guest for this episode. I've been a fan of this guy before I was a friend of this guy, and now I'm a friend of this guy, and I always get so excited to see him. Every time I see you, I'm always like, Chris! Like, I feel like a dog. I'm very much excited. And then you'll be like, chill. You're like, what's up, man? Like, but I get so excited to see you. I adore you. I think you're hilarious. Chris Porter.
Oh, what's up? No, I get excited to see you. I just, I don't show it. I'm not
Laying
as
low.
animated.
You chill.
But I get super like, hey, what's up? That's my Jeff.
Yeah, that is your version of what I'm doing. Exactly. But you're a Kansas City comic.
Yep.
And obviously I'm gonna have you do this better than I could. But you, as I know, you were killing it in Kansas City,
Yep.
and then you got on Last Comic Standing.
Ish. Yeah.
Okay, or you moved to LA before that.
I moved to LA first.
Okay, you moved to LA.
Yeah.
Then crushed it on Last Comic Standing.
Yep.
You were already touring before Last
Wait,
Comic
what
Standing.
season?
4, the Josh Blue
Okay, yeah.
season.
Right.
You just have to tell them. You got to tell them the winner.
You
That's
can't
how
say the
they
number.
remember
Yeah,
it.
right.
You're like 4. They're
That's
like,
how I
who
think
is
of it,
that?
too.
You're like the guy.
The
with
Eliza
cerebral
year.
palsy.
You know that year?
Oh yeah.
Ah, you were on the Eliza year? You're like, the show had a name and a number.
Yes.
Mhm.
And a lot of people think I won.
Yeah.
A lot of people-
You've crushed it since
Well,
then.
that was 11 years ago.
When
So
also
people-
Ty Barnett doesn't do a lot. He
Yeah.
does like acting now and like commercial work and stuff like that. And like, so he doesn't, I don't know. He does stuff.
I see him
guess.
around.
I see him around.
He's back for sure.
Yeah.
He was gone for a little bit.
He's gone being a dad and
Yeah.
living his life. And he was doing a lot of acting, focused on that. And then also like, does Josh Blue like intentionally doesn't work or something?
I think he just has his niche. I think he does a lot of speaking, but he also like does a lot of weird shows that, pay him well.
Yeah, he'll do like a corporate gig for like $12 million and then
Yeah.
just not work for the rest of the month.
And then and then does a few clubs that he still works, but I don't know how often he's doing any of
Because
them.
he still lives in Denver.
Still lives in Denver.
Right.
Still has property at the base of some mountain that he goes out and, it's my side of the mountain. But yeah.
I saw him at an airport drunk once and I went up to him. And have you ever went up to someone and you're like, why did I do this? Have you ever had that moment where you're just kind of like, oh, I can't, he's not excited to see me.
I did that to Chappelle.
You did that?
Well, I'd actually hung out with him a few times with Josh Blue, actually.
But you guys seem perfectly like a match. Both comics, both funny, and you both love smoking weed.
Yeah. So I'm at Sugarfish in Santa Monica or something, and he walks in, and I'm like, hey, man, what's up? And he was like, hey. I was like, oh, guess you don't remember.
He's just hey.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. So, yeah, I mean, but I didn't really take it that offensively.
Yeah, of course not.
Man,
Well, and I think so I sort of had to do that with Doug Benson.
Yeah.
I met Doug Benson a bunch of times before Doug Benson processed who I was and that I was like a comedian or like any of that thing. And it's because he was just so stoned every time. But I didn't want to be that girl who's like, we've met before.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I didn't want to like do that. And I'm so conscious of not being that guy that I didn't want to do that to Doug Benson. But I was like wondering how many times am I gonna, because I like him so much.
Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, I was just hoping, but I also didn't hold it against him. I'm nobody compared to Doug.
I
but-
lost a lot of friends when I cut my hair and grew a beard just because they didn't know what I looked like anymore.
Oh wow.
They're like, do we know each other?
Like Aziz,
Yeah.
before he blew up, like whenever I would see him at the comedy or at the improv, we'd
Yeah.
be like, hey, we'd have a beer and we'd talk. And then I cut my hair and grew a beard. And the next time I saw him, I'm like, what's up, man? He's like, hey. I'm like,
Really? Aziz
okay.
Ansari?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
no,
And-
the other Aziz.
I don't know. I think that maybe there was some Aziz in comedy that I'm.
And then Rowdy Piper was the same way.
Really?
Oh,
But
no.
yeah, that's some CTE stuff.
Absolutely. And
Sure.
also,
Yeah.
Aziz has some social problems also.
Yeah.
He's not the best. I'm
mean,
shocked when you said that you had beers with him and were cool with him.
Yeah, like it was a really weird thing, like where I did a show and he watched me and thought I was funny and like approached me and was like, hey, blah,
great.
blah. We talked. And then the next time I saw him, he like,
How
came
many
to-
years ago was that?
That was years. I mean, pre Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I've only seen him post Parks and Rec, and he's such a social jerk. Like,
Yeah.
it's at the Comedy Cellar, and we're like, "What's going on?" And he's just like he snubbed me at the Tonight Show. Like he's been pretty brutal that way.
I don't think here's the thing with that. I think not a lot of people, sorry for making all this noise, but
No, it's good. Part of it.
It's real.
I don't think he had a lot of friends before he blew up. Like
Yeah.
he just kind of got onto the scene and then got Parks and Rec and got
Sure.
all that stuff and then blew up. And now, so I kind of get people coming up to him and going, hey man, what's up? And just
Yeah.
being like, man, you didn't say shit to me
Yeah, that makes sense.
at that show we were on,
Mhm.
you know?
That could be. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. I guess like I'm so like weird about that kind of stuff. Like, why wouldn't they just want friends? And people some people like this is a great story. I'm getting coffee with Tommy Johnigan.
Okay.
I'm getting coffee. We're both ordering coffee. And I say to the guy, that person that's where I go, how's it going? And the guy's like, good. Or no, he goes, what can I get you? And I said, how's it going? Like, just how about some small talk first?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, oh, good. And I was like, you got a beautiful day, man. We're all out here shopping. And the guy's like, he's just looking at the line behind me, like, why is
Yeah.
this guy chatting me up?
Yeah, I'd be doing the same thing.
Exactly. And so I'm like, anyways, I'll have this. Tommy's going to have this, blah, blah, blah. And Tommy walked away from me at this point. And the guy's like, all right, man. He was like friendly and whatever. And he like actually hooked us up. He gave me a free pastry. He's like, don't worry about it. And then I go wait for my coffee. And I'm like, yeah, see that? Free pastry, man. Just chatting people up, having a good time. You know, that's what I like. I like that. And Tommy just looked at me and goes, we are totally different people. Because he was like, I don't want any small talk. I don't want to chat with him. I don't want to know his name. I don't
Yeah.
want. He goes, I just want my coffee and I want to leave. And I was like, in my mind, like, oh yeah, I guess I'm just kind of different that way. And I think I'm different with that. With also, like, I would think like if I was on Parks and Rec and I'm crushing at a comedy club, even if you don't know me, I want you to come up to me and be like, "Hey, great set, man.
Yeah.
Let's have a bit." Like, I guess that's just how I'm different.
Also, I feel like I'm the same way. I just don't want people thinking that I'm walking away thinking I'm a dick.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You want people to be your friend.
That just builds up bad karma, I feel like.
Absolutely.
Like if enough people are just like, that guy is kind of a dick, I think that just builds up and builds up.
And then you're Barry Bonds.
And then you get
alone.
accused of, raping a chick while watching Seinfeld.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you're getting a blowjob, and that
got real
same
specific.
girl is calling you a rapist.
Hey, whoa.
Maybe you shouldn't have been such a dick to all those comics when they said
Exactly.
hello.
Yeah.
That
That
all
is
makes. I think
hilarious.
that's very logical.
Good point. It's a good point.
But so wait, but you're getting back to like you were more recognizable from Last Comic Standing. We have to address that. You had a distinct look. You had the bell bottoms.
Yeah.
You had like you were wearing like suits, like leisure suits. Would you call them leisure
No,
suits?
I mean, no, they were. I
Just
was
like a
just
leisure
wearing
coat?
like a jacket. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a crushed velvet jacket.
And then the curly hair.
Yeah. Although to be fair, I didn't really don the jacket till post
Okay.
last because I couldn't afford it.
Oh,
Like all that shit was expensive, and
Yeah.
I needed a Last Comic Standing money to pay for it. So,
you had a distinct look.
but I definitely had like a very rock and roll vibe to me.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But it was very much the buckle rock and roll vibe.
Yeah. Well, I recall saying to Brian Moot, I've never seen anyone that looks like Chris Porter. I remember like thinking like my eyes have never looked at a guy that looks like that.
Yeah.
It was like it was just a cool look. Like it looked like like the cool guy that you'd want. I don't know. Just it was just you could be an action figure.
It worked
Or
for you.
like,
Got me third.
dude. You crushed.
bronzed it.
Well, the jokes got you third.
Yeah.
Man, we got a couple bronze medalists here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. We're both
Yeah.
third place too.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
on Last Comic Standing.
Podium, baby.
We've talked about this.
Yes,
Yeah.
very
Podium.
much so.
Right on.
Yeah. The first time, this is a story I love to share, but I've never shared it on the podcast because it's a new podcast. The first time I ever smoked weed was with Chris Porter. We
What?
picked him up. Yeah, we
Yeah.
picked him up from the airport.
They
Gotta hear
picked,
this.
They came to get me at the hotel. I was staying at the Hotel 1000.
Yeah, which is where I worked.
And they showed up a little bit early, and I was smoking a bowl, and they came to my door. I'm like, you guys can come in. I'm smoking a bowl. And they're like, okay. And
We were
they
like,
came in.
absolutely. The headliner just invited us in.
So, you were with your friend,
Me, Brian Moot.
and they walked in, and I loaded a bowl, and I gave it to Brian, and Brian hit it and gave it to Jeff, and Jeff looks at it, and he goes, how does this work? And I go, what do you mean, how does that work? And he goes, I've never done this before. And then my mind blew. I'm like, what? You've never smoked weed before and you're going to do it now? Like,
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, why not? It's with you. And I was just like, all right.
Yeah.
And we showed him how to do it. And he got super high and lost about $500 worth of equipment.
Yeah, I like was recording my sets at the open mics at the time, and so like I just left it recording, thinking like, oh, this is gonna be the best set ever. I'm high. I bet I'll be so much funnier. Also, I was bombing like every night at that point in my career, but I definitely bombed that night. And I was like, but at least I'll look back on this and think like, oh, my first time being high. I wonder like
What a
this
story
is
to tell.
recording, and then I go, wait. And I was like, it's bad. I left it back in the showroom. I went back. It was already like nicked. Somebody had already stolen it.
It was probably the owner.
Absolutely. Terry Taylor probably owned that iPod and stole it. But yeah, it was such a, like, I'm so proud to say that that's how I smoked weed the first time. Like,
I
most people
enjoy
do
it.
What? They were like 15 trying to impress some girl or something. What was the first time? You never smoked
I
weed?
never have.
Tony Reavis.
What's
Angel.
up with you?
Sweetheart.
Yeah, see, I do.
Never had alcohol.
I had a feeling, yeah.
No, dude.
I'm one of those.
It's
Wait,
the
your first time smoking weed can be with Chris
Right
Porter as well.
now. Yeah, Chris Porter.
I did stop by the dispensary on the way over.
No,
How
no.
good would that be? Aaron, what was your first time smoking weed?
I was a freshman in high school, and I was just with a couple dudes that were cool. They were cooler than me.
Just cool guys.
Just
some
cooler than
with a
me.
couple
That was
guys
all it
were
took.
cool.
Me and Aaron just trying to impress older cool guys.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, if this gets me into the cool circle, I'm in. And then I think I coughed so much I puked. Like
Oh,
the
no.
first time.
Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. Which did not stop them from going to Juana's second hit, and I did. So
And you did.
yeah.
Attaboy.
Gotta impress the.
What are you gonna do? Puke twice?
Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly.
That's a good attitude.
Yeah.
And yeah, probably. I was a freshman in college because my parents,
That's pretty late.
yeah, my parents had told me. This is a funny story. My parents told me when I was like a sophomore, which is when I actually went into high school. But they were like, "Hey, if you stay sober throughout high school, we'll buy you a car when you graduate.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like,
Oh,
There was an
Done.
incentive.
Yeah.
done.
A new car?
I'd do it for just
Yeah.
because.
You
I don't-
did do it just because. What do you mean I would? You
That's what I'm saying.
did do
Yeah,
it just because.
I still haven't done
Negative
a
car.
prize.
CM Punk over here.
Okay, now listen to this. So then junior year, my parents start to realize that I'm not going out on the weekends. Like I'm literally on Friday night, I'm driving down to Blockbuster, I'm renting movies, I'm coming back by myself and watching movies.
Yeah.
And passing out, or maybe having a friend over or whatever. And I remember this specifically, sitting in my parents' room at like 6:00 on a Friday night, watching television. My parents going, "Hey, can we talk?"
Oh, no.
I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "You know, you don't go out very much." And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "When we were in high school, we went out a lot. We were just wondering why you don't go out so much." I'm like, "Well, I went out a couple of times to the parties and everyone was drunk and they're stupid and they act stupid and I'm not drunk, so it's even more stupid."
Right.
And then they look at me and are like, "You don't think less of me because I'm drunk." And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to hang here and watch Die Hard with a Vengeance. And which
And
is,
they're like, we're going to have to buy him a car, I think.
yeah. And so my parents are like, "Okay." So they like go have it. And I don't think anything of it. They leave and they come back and they go, "All right, listen, you need to have a social life. So you can drink,
Oh, my.
but you can't drive. Like you got to go somewhere, drink, stay there, wake up the next day. And if you ever go somewhere and you drink and you can't, you know, you need a ride, call us." Like all that. If we ever catch you drinking and driving, that's over. And so I got to drink my junior and senior year. And like we lived in
it's a really early age for your parents to be like, start drinking.
But their parents were
heavily
parents were
Catholic
worried.
family.
Yeah, they were worried that you weren't like engaging socially.
yeah,
which,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's amazing to me. I'm so jealous.
So then, yeah, like I'd go over to my best friend's house and fucking we just get hammered.
That's insane.
And we just stay there. And, you know, sometimes we go to, I remember going to parties and just sleeping in my car. And I remember they ended up buying me, like I could have gotten a newer car earlier, but they ended up buying me like a 70 Cutlass convertible.
Oh my
Because my dad got a
gosh.
line on it. And he's like, "You can buy this now."
What does
He's
he mean got a line on it? What does that mean?
Like he knew someone that was selling it.
Oh, nice.
And he could get a deal on it. So he was like, "How about," and he was like, "How about you get a 70 Cutlass?" I'm like, "Nah." And he was like, "Let's go take a look at it." And I went and took a look at it. I was like, "Yeah, I'll take this.
Oh,
no
yeah.
problem." It had a 350 in it, drop top.
amazing.
It was red with white interior.
It's better than your car now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had
funny-
a transmission problem recently, and this car is. You should have that car. That car's
Fucking-
great.
Yeah. So then I graduate high school and I have my car. So then I remember going out, getting drunk. And like I'd been planning on it. It was just a matter of
Saving
time.
up.
And I walked and we went to like, they were like 3 years above us in high school and college, these guys. And they were in the band, like the real cool, like rock band that was popular. And we went over there because we knew my buddy's like, "If you're going to get high, you're going to get high on the best weed Kansas has to offer." And they did. They had some, for what 1998 had to offer, it was really good.
Yeah, I feel like Kansas, they're good at growing stuff.
Well, and we were in Lawrence, which is like KU.
Oh, yeah.
Had been known for growing weed. And,
Okay.
And I didn't puke, but I remember it took me like 4 times to figure out how the bong worked.
Yeah.
And
I did it on a bong hit. That was the
Yeah.
reason I puked immediately because it was way too much for the
dude,
first hit.
it hit me. I ran into the bathroom and I remember the guy knocking on the door like, "Porter, you cool?" And I was like, "I didn't puke. I didn't puke."
Were you lying?
No, I didn't.
You really didn't?
I
puke?
didn't puke, but I do remember my other buddy, my roommate, got really high too, and he just wasn't a good high person.
That's
He
how
li-
I am.
He liked to get high, but he also got super paranoid. And we were also drunk in 19, which didn't help. And I remember walking down the street. All we had to do was walk 2 blocks. We literally had to cross a street,
Yeah.
basically, to get to our apartments. It took about 30 minutes. And I remember my buddy, every time a car would come by, he would just freeze and had me do the same thing because this is my first time getting high. So
Right.
he's leading
Yeah.
this expedition. He's like, "If you see a car, just freeze." And I can only imagine what these cars are feeling like. Like,
yeah.
they're driving by, they're just people like
Two dudes
just
pausing.
frozen.
Yeah.
And they're just like driving by like, I think we're high. And I remember going to bed and my heart's just racing. And I was like, I might die. But I was like so high, I was like, well, might as well ride it out. And fucking had a great time, went to bed and woke up the next day, and that was
So wait, so how many times do you have to smoke weed before you're like, I like this, I enjoy this? Because like I had to drink alcohol 100 times before I enjoyed it, but now I drink pretty regularly.
yeah.
I have never gotten to that point with marijuana. Like I have like one good high for every 10 times I do it, and that's a bad ratio.
I think I don't know how many times you have to do it. I think it's a sit. Like, have you ever just smoked weed at your place and watched TV and just
Like
chill,
by myself.
or with
That's
people
really
you-
at its peak.
or with people that you're comfortable with?
No.
That's how you do it.
Okay.
Get your money for nothing and your chicks for free. But no, that's because you need to get comfortable with it.
Because there was a certain point where I was just like, this isn't for me. I'm just ruining the party. I'm saying
Yeah.
stuff that makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah, no.
I'm
The first couple times you
paranoid.
do it, don't do it in a party. You got to get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
It's like a girl.
Yeah.
You got to
Takes
sit
time.
down, hang out with it by yourself, get to know it.
Okay. That's good
It's-
advice. I think that's good advice. Because
Yeah.
you gave me, so
It's
we
very
were flying
2018
back
to
from
say girl.
Alaska. You had some sort of edible.
Yeah.
And you gave me just like a tiny piece of it just so I could taste what it, because it looked good.
Yeah.
It looked
It
it was like
was
a
good.
cinnamon toast crunch
It was
kind
a
of like
cinnamon toast crunch bar.
yeah, and it was like
With
marshmallow
weed
and all
in
that
it.
stuff, but it had weed in it. I go, that looks good, but I'm not touching it because I'm sure it's got marijuana.
Yeah.
And he goes, just try a little. And he gave me such a small, I mean, it was like minuscule.
Yeah.
But I tried something. I go, oh, that was good. And then he broke off a piece for Arden. She didn't eat it, so I took it. So I probably
Oh,
only
no.
had like 2 pieces. And then I remember not thinking about it after that because it just tasted good. We go to the airport. We get on the plane, and on the plane we're goofing off and joking around and having fun because it was just a fun weekend. You're around good people. But then I do remember going, I'm in a good mood. And then like after like an hour, I was like, oh, I think I'm in a good mood. Like that's why I'm feeling like this like jovial sense of like whatever.
Yeah, you're fairly jovial but yeah, I would, if you're really interested, I would, a Sunday night, if you're just
Fascinated
chilling,
by it.
watching a movie, smoke a bowl.
If it wasn't for weed, I wouldn't have watched Big Lebowski.
Smoke a
Yeah,
bowl
I'd
with
like
you.
to figure it out because I think here's the thing: all my friends smoke weed, and then it's one of those things where like you feel like you're not included. You're like, oh, they're all doing that, and I'm like, no, just drink whiskey, and it's like you want to be part of the group. It is, like. I'm not gonna like ruin my life. It's not like I'm gonna get suspended.
Yeah,
if I
it's not
smoke
like you're like,
weed.
man, I really
Get a white
can't
slip.
figure out crack.
Exactly.
I've never
Yeah,
liked
that's
it.
the thing. Yeah,
And
not
I'm
just-
like, no, dude, you got to find a weird abandoned house.
you don't need sheets, just a mattress.
yeah, don't even need that really. Just a broken bottle.
I actually bought a Fruity Pebbles marshmallow square because of seeing what you got in Alaska that had weed in it. I just remember thinking like, I want all this stuff that they put weed in without the weed. So I had like a Fruity Pebbles like square that I bought from like this place down the street, Crave. And I was just like, I'm buying that. And then I kept asking like, there's not weed in that. They're like, we're a restaurant. Why would there be? And I don't know. Like, that's why I'm getting it. Cause I saw some weed and I wanted just the Rice Krispie treat. And it was
We're
really,
a
really
restaurant.
good. They were pretty annoyed.
but
But this is an
weed in
interesting thing that we haven't talked about is when we were in Alaska together. It was me, you, Bill Dwyer, Arden Marine, and then Jerry. What's Jerry's last name?
Jerry Evans.
Jerry Evans, and then Jamie LaSalle. And it was very, very fun. One of the funnest weekends I've had in comedy in the last few years because I'm usually alone on the road,
Yeah.
or with like one guy instead of like friends. When we were going through the airport, because we're all used to being at airports alone, we're amping it up to like 10. Arden is just making jokes. She's screwing with TCA. She's like just being great and
To the
fun
point where
and
she had to
silly.
like go back through the
Yeah,
shit
and the
and go-
woman is like frisking her. She's still making jokes to try to get a laugh. I adore her.
Yeah.
And I'm always like that and talking to anyone anyways. Bill is kind of like, yes, Andy and Arden and like enjoying the banter. Chris just, here's my shit. I'm trying to get through. Like almost like you're so low key and so like, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. I don't want to deal with this. I've never witnessed anyone. And then I didn't even put it together until we were on our way back that like, You might have weed on you.
Yeah.
Or in your system or something.
I did have it on the way up for sure.
You're the most well-behaved
Yeah.
TSA guy.
Never underestimate your enemy. That's what my uncle told me.
You should have seen him. And
I'm
in
just
my mind,
low.
like I was like, Arden's being first. I'm like, I'm being silly Jeff. And Bill's joking around and Arden's fucking around. And then Chris just like
I'm like,
puts it in the
these
tray. He's not
fucking
with
criminals.
us. It's just, it was amazing. Oh, and then also we got pulled over by a cop.
Oh yeah, pulling into our hotel as we're trying, because we took the red eye out after the last show. We were running in to like grab our shit, and Jerry didn't know how streets worked. And makes a left turn, cuts off a cop so bad that she's obviously mad about
Yeah,
it.
she was like rattled.
Like she had road rage. And we didn't know. Like,
She treated it like Jerry was like, "Oh, woman cop, those don't count." Like that's how angry she was.
so we get out, like we didn't see the cops, so we pull up to the hotel, we all get out, and she's like, "Get back in the car."
Yeah, back in the car.
And we're like, "Oh shit!" We slam it. She's like, she walks up to Jerry like, "What's your deal?
It was amazing.
Did you not see me?" And Jerry's like, "Well, no, I didn't see nothing." And she ended up letting him go. I was like,
Which
for
was
all
weird.
that vigor,
Yeah.
I thought there was at least going to be a
But he was
citation.
paranoid because you were high.
Not in Alaska, it's legal.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Jerry was really like, he kept going like, "Oh, I know Chris is God." And I was like, "What are you?" But I remember going, "Oh, that's why you were acting so," because he dealt with the cop pretty nervously.
Yeah. I'm like, dude,
He was like, "Oh, I didn't know. I didn't see it." You're like,
dude, I bought this at a store.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, those guys, when you went to the
hot springs.
hot springs, I went to the weed store. They
Right.
took me on a full
But
tour of the grow.
A weed card accounts for like all 50 states?
No, and now in Alaska, it's fully legal.
Oh,
so
cool.
anyone can buy it.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I
so-
thought you went to like a weed store like
Wait,
you
you
would
got a
go.
tour of the grove?
of the grow.
So you got to see all the plants and
I
shit?
got to see all the plants. I got to see them from seed to sale, just like every
The
phase.
dude was like so happy to have Chris there. And then he came to the show. He brought Chris like hats and shirts.
Yeah, I was wearing that today. Actually,
Yeah.
it's a really because they're Hawaiian, but they're in Alaska. Oh, well, yucca, yucca, yucca. And it's called Pakalolo Supply Company. So it's a real rad hat, and it's got Alaska on the back.
Yeah. I was like, so like that's another reason. Like, let's say I'd like to learn how to smoke weed because like those kind of situations like that, or like every time I do Doug's Loves Movies,
Yeah,
like I just don't know a lot about movies, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's so funny. Doug must have smoked them out." And I'm like, "Nah, I just don't know."
yeah. Or
about
getting
movies."
Doug with high is a great.
Oh yeah, there's another
It's
one.
yeah,
Jessamine Peluso. Every time I see her, she's high, and like she's like, "We're gonna smoke." I'm like, "Nah, I don't."
dude. She gets on Instagram every day. It's like, let's smoke a joint together.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to be alone.
What is the hardest drug you guys have ever done? Tony?
Advil for
Tony,
me.
what is it gonna take, man? When are
Advil.
you gonna start living your life?
Dude, we're going to get you a boner one of these days, and
I'm
you're going
telling
to
you,
start
I don't know.
actually taking chances.
And now, is it a what is it? I'm putting you on the spot. We can edit this out if you don't want to hear it because you know your mom listens to this. I love
Hi,
your mom.
Mom.
Shout out to Miss Reavis. But for real though, so you don't drink alcohol, never have,
No.
no interest,
No.
okay? Because you're of age.
Yeah.
Just letting you know. Marijuana, you don't touch it,
Never.
never have.
Never have.
Must have been around. You played baseball.
yeah,
You
plenty.
played sports. Those
Yeah,
guys
it's
are
always
always
around.
doing little, you know.
Yeah, did you even roids or nothing?
ecstasy?
Yeah, but
No,
ecstasy.
Nothing.
None of that.
Nothing.
No hot
And
girl
I
was like,
remember when
take
we
this.
talked about stealing on this podcast, episode 1, which I'd love to hear if you've ever stolen anything. You barely chimed in on that.
Yeah, no, not much of a klepto.
You didn't steal things.
No.
Do you ever set stuff on fire, break stuff, throw things through windows? Did you go through puberty?
Have you ever cut in line
You see this
ever?
beard?
Yeah, I was gonna say, according to the beard, I would say yes.
Yeah, but like I've spent my whole life breaking shit and punching things and throwing rocks and baseballs and
No, I just was just
mischief,
Have you ever licked a
Doing my
frog?
blowing up a
No, I
mailbox.
haven't. No.
What's the?
I
Give
wasn't
me
a
something.
troublemaker. I wasn't a troublemaker.
You're just a sweet guy.
I just, did things. I played sports. I played video games. I just
Okay.
kept it chill.
Yeah.
All right.
Kept it chill. I was around it. I would go to parties and stuff. I just was like
Does it
the
bother
dad
you?
of the group.
Right. Does it bother you when other people do it?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. It used to like a little bit when we were like real young. Like if I was like 14 and my friends were, I'm like, come on, guys. Like
You
we're
would judge 'em.
14. Yeah. But like when I was in like high school, it it was cool. Like, have fun. Just like, let's be safe. Like, you're not
Yeah.
driving. You're not driving. Like, I made sure of that stuff. And
Just no trouble for you.
no. And what was
You
cool
were the
about it-
Jason Priestley of the group.
Yeah. And what was cool,
Was he a nerd?
90210, he was always the guy that
He's
would
the straight
take
edge.
the
Yeah,
keys.
he's like the come
Hey,
on, guys.
You guys.
Yeah, what
Exactly.
was cool about it too is like at parties and anything, like if anyone started to like get in a fight with one of my friends, I could always step
So
in.
did you fight?
No, but like it would stop because
Big guys never fight. They don't
yeah,
have
that's what
to.
I'm saying. Because people would not want to fight me. Someone would want to be fighting my
You
friend.
ever return a library
I
book
would-
late?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's it.
You ever,
did?
you ever go over the speed limit?
Yeah,
Not more than 5.
yeah.
It's not bad. I'm just impressed that like so I'm a nice guy and a good guy, but when I was younger I often misrepresented myself by stealing or trying to impress other kids, and so that's why I was that's the only reason a lot of these stories exist
Yeah.
is because you weren't always.
And I just didn't really care about what my peers thought.
You're a good kid.
I
man.
don't
Yeah,
care
but breaking the
about
law
my
was really
peers.
cool when you were a kid.
You know,
Not even if your peers saw it.
That's the thing. Is like, 'cause I was the baby, so I have 2 older brothers, stuff like that. So like, I would be around when like I remember going to the store with them, and they were in the process of stealing something
Oh, yeah.
while I was in in their presence.
Sure.
So I was witness to.
Okay.
That's like my.
That's horrible.
That's my
Doesn't count.
my thing,
No
yeah.
street cred.
right.
Jesus.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's fine though.
Take your rap videos off of YouTube.
I know.
Take them down now.
Well, that's the whole thing with the
And stop saying it with the ER. That's rude.
Yeah. Those are the
He's
rules.
not even.
Follow the rules, Revis.
Yeah, sorry.
What's the hardest drug you've ever done, Aaron? I feel like you've lived the opposite of Revis.
Yeah, I've done a lot of drugs.
Aaron with this sweatshirt and this hat. Is this the first time you've met him, Chris?
Yeah.
Aaron Marsh?
Yeah.
I know it's the first time you guys formally have met.
Yeah.
He used to work at Flappers.
I worked the door at Flappers. You would come in every now and then. I would just check you in. So,
Oh,
like
okay.
we've had interactions of like
I've literally been
Chris.
there.
Yep,
Serendipity.
perfect.
Sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've been in that room 3 times.
Yeah.
I think I checked you into 2 of those. at least.
So Aaron looks like this sweet little cubby of a guy, but he's covered in tattoos, and
You don't have to prove it.
he also is in
Above.
No, 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 I'm
musical.
taking my
He's
shirt
like
off.
he knows like you guys are both music guys. My lack of music knowledge is embarrassing.
It's pretty great.
It's bad, but Aaron knows like you name any crappy band, this guy knows all the.
I've seen him.
Yeah. So in my estimation, I would say that from our friendship, I would gather that you've done almost all the
Oh,
drugs.
I would say the fact that I'm a big Ween fan really pulls out
Yeah.
exactly
I hope
what
you
that
mean
means.
the band and not a dick.
both, a little of both.
I love the Ween. I love it in my ears and in my face.
Yeah, you're like, you're my
Exactly.
least favorite kind of gay guy now. Yeah. You call it a ween. But Aaron, so I would guess you've done all the drugs.
Well, I haven't done heroin.
Okay.
Wait, you've done crack?
I haven't done crack.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's
Outside
awful.
of that,
my
I feel like
prediction
I've
was
done
wrong.
most of the stuff. Like I did ecstasy and
Did acid?
did acid. I loved
Mushrooms?
acid. Done mushrooms a lot.
What was acid like, Aaron?
It's kind of intense.
Cheers, boys. It's kind of intense.
It's a little much.
The problem with acid is that it's not. It's like 3 days of your life.
Yeah, that is the problem with acid. It's too long.
That's
people-
why I never. That's literally why I never did it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
people do
Was
tell you, they're
literally
like,
the time
oh, yeah, you
commitment.
start to come down after 6 hours, which is true, but it's a very slow come down. Like, you don't
Right.
sleep the next day, and then the next day you still have some you're still hallucinating,
Yeah.
and then you fully crash and feel like total shit on that third day.
Well, here's how wrong I've been doing weed then. Because weed will, maybe I'm just over smoking it so much that
Mhm.
it'll affect me all the next day too.
Weed does that for me too, which is also why I pretty much stopped smoking weed.
Okay.
Because if drugs only actually lasted for that 4 hours or
I
whatever,
can make
that
it
I'm
last,
enjoying
yeah,
it,
for an hour or so.
then I would love it. But the problem is I have to be up in the morning and I have to think the next day a little
Right.
bit.
I did ecstasy once, and that was a drug that I literally did once. I go, that was fun. Don't need to do it ever again.
Okay.
I'll tell you, the first time I did ecstasy was the best time I did ecstasy.
Yeah.
And then I did it a couple more times trying to make it feel like the first time.
Oh, so then you got the best one done.
Yeah,
You guys
best
both
one
did
done.
the best
All
one.
right. I did pretty good.
Yeah,
Checked it
don't need to go
off.
back.
Mushrooms, a whole bunch.
Yeah, mushrooms are great.
Love those. Nitrous I'm a big fan of.
That's a drug? What is nitrous?
nitrous. It's not really a drug. You're
I used to
just
steal it from Starbucks when I worked
You
there.
fucking
Oh, yeah, whippets.
whip
Yeah,
it,
whippets.
basically. But if you get it like the medical nitrous or like if you get it out of a tank,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually a little bit cleaner but and you get more of that wah stuff.
You
That
know when
last
like
note.
some people are like putting helium in their mouth from a balloon, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Look, my voice is so crazy," and then like, but they're doing it also. They're going, "Yeah, look at my voice!"
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they're also doing it. So even when the thing's weaned up, you hear them trying to do it.
Yeah.
That's how I was with ecstasy. I took ecstasy. I was like, "Oh God, guys!" Like I was like convincing myself that it was happening. So I don't even know if it fully affected me that because she's like, "I'll just give you like half of a E pill," and I was like, "Oh yeah," and then I was like, "Oh yeah, this is working. Come here, kiss me." So I don't think I
All
did
right, I'll just
ecstasy
blow
right.
this guy. It's not really working.
It's just the ecstasy.
DMT is the greatest drug I've ever.
What is that? Isn't that ecstasy?
It's not. That's
No.
MDMA. DMT
Oh, jeez,
is
all these
actually
acronyms.
DMT is not even a drug. It's actually a molecule that occurs in your brain. Like, but it normally just comes out. It's normally just released like when you're being attacked by a bear or something. Like
It's
when
adrenaline, right? Or like
it's like a way for your body to like just deal with savage pain and stuff. Well, the natives of Africa thousands of years ago figured out some root or some tree that you can take and
Nice.
smoke it, and it lasts 10 minutes.
it's great.
It's the most insane buzz I've ever had. Like the first time I did it, I went from 0 to 60 so fast that I was like, I'm dying. I'm dying.
That's it.
The one guy that
That
died
doesn't
from
sound
DMT.
fun.
Check on
It's
Chris
me.
Porter, please, because
And
He's outta
but
here.
it wasn't because like I thought I was dying. I was like, there's no way this is feeling this great. And I'm fucking there's nothing gonna happen from it. And so, but again, just like in the weed thing where I was like, well, ride it out. I was like, if you're gonna die, have a good
this is
time.
it. Yeah, this is it.
And I had the best time, and it's very hallucinogenic. Every time I've done it, I've kind of gone to the same place, and it lasts about 10 minutes. They always give you like blinders and like music that you can hear. And the way I can tell I'm
Is it
coming,
Ween?
Who's there?
Yeah, wait, you go to like
the guy's house that I go to do it in the town that I normally do it in.
Okay.
And
I
this
love
guy,
the vagueness.
and this guy,
You're the opposite of Sean Waltman.
like his girlfriend's like a neurology person. Like, so it's like but you definitely need someone to watch you.
Sure.
Just to like, because you have no ears and you have no eyes.
I think my ex-girlfriend did this. Well,
And-
when we weren't together. She was like, "Yeah, I went to this place and I did this thing, and like, I was just walking around with my shirt off, and like,
I didn't. You're not walking around.
oh, you're not walking around.
I
Right,
mean,
never mind.
I guess if you got nice tits, you can walk around.
Yeah, she's.
sure
you
enough.
know,
But
it was her
just
excuse.
let
Like, I'm on
everybody know.
drugs. It's fine.
No, when I did DMT, I literally sat in it. Every time I've done it, I've sat in a chair. I've smoked it. I've sat there for 10 minutes, lost my fucking mind after 10 minutes. Like, oh, and like by no hangover, you're in the best mood ever. Like it's the only drug I've ever done where I was like, I should tell my mom about this. And I did DMT, felt great, went straight to the gym.
I love
Had
that.
a- yeah,
Wait. So how much did it cost?
Yeah, we should do this.
that's the great.
Podcast field trip.
I don't know where
Reavis
to
is
find
in.
it.
Oh, dude, your first drug ever, DMT.
First off, they never charged me for it. That's
Well,
like
It's
they,
free.
They were those people that like they were those people that were like, we just enjoy the fact that you want to take this trip, that you,
What?
that you
Oh yeah,
want
yeah.
to
Like that you're
experience it.
open-minded enough to
Yeah.
try. Yeah.
And so and then you even have to like smoke it with a certain herb because this herb is a MOI inhibitor because your body can pretty much just it can just get rid of it because
Sure.
it knows all about it. So it's not a foreign substance.
Sure.
So if you don't smoke it with this certain MOI inhibitor, then it doesn't really do anything. And then when you do it with this stuff, it's fucking awesome.
I want to try this. We're doing
I've
this.
only
Aaron.
uh,
heard great things about
And
DMT.
Tony's going too.
There's
I'll
a
drive you guys.
there's
No.
a special on Netflix, I think, called The Spirit Molecule.
Maybe I started this documentary.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Well, there was a thing I learned on a separate documentary about how like they used to test LSD for like actual medical purposes. Like they're like it started as like a thing where they're like, oh, a lot of good can come from this. It might not heal, but like treat dementia. It might like work with all these things. But then like all the hippies were like getting it before it was like legal and like ready and done being tested. And they're like, it's against the law. Stop all the tests. Stop all the different things. And then a lot of people still to this day are like, no, we should still be learning where we can get with this.
Yeah, a lot of people are testing what's called microdosing, where you take very minute amounts. Like businessmen and creatives are doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all like, I'm very active. I'm I'm not tired.
Brendan Walsh microdoses, I think.
Does he?
Yeah, I think he said that to me, and I feel bad if I just said that and it's not true. But I just did this thing with him, and he's like, "Yeah, I've been like microdosing." I think that's what the term he used, which I used to just joke that microdosing is just budgeting.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You can call it microdosing. You just got a smaller bag of what the other guys got.
But I mean, imagine, like you took a small amount of THC and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is great. Well, imagine if it was LSD. You're
Yeah.
like, hey, hey,
Yeah.
colors.
Maybe that's what it is. Like, I'm just like, my body is so much more susceptible to all these things that I'm just doing too much of it.
Well, the natives of Africa, like there's a certain tribe that takes some weird hallucinogen and go hunt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're like stabbing trees. They're like, I got one.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
Yeah.
Wait.
It's
Mabuku,
so big.
that's a tree.
That's Gary. You stabbed Gary.
He looked like a tiger, man. What do you want from me?
Maybe we should stop doing all these drugs before we go hunt. Right after we get done eating Gary.
Gary's
Waste not, want not.
Yeah, that's right.
We're in
Stop
Africa.
trying to get the fur off of him. He doesn't have fur. So wait, do you ever go on stage high or always go on
That's a
stage high?
prerequisite.
Oh,
pretty much.
you do.
Oh, really?
But
Is that
not
from day
like-
one?
No, but it's from like it's been a while.
Mhm.
But I used to be the guy that's like, they're calling my name,
Oh,
but I
really?
can't do that anymore.
Okay.
Maybe second show, but first show was like, I've started to respect the show a lot more.
Yeah.
Like, it's a job.
Yeah.
Like maybe you shouldn't look fucking baked out of your goddamn mind.
But that's the brand you created. with
Like
your
I
goofy
definitely
hair.
get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
But there are definitely times where I've gotten on stage way too high, and people are like, "How high are you?" And you're like, "High enough to make you laugh."
Yeah,
Shut
don't
the
worry
fuck
about
up. I'm getting
It's
through
like
it.
stand up says, I'm not driving a bus.
Yeah.
Like, just relax. Because I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this job high. It's fine. You don't have to complain. Why I ask that too is like, or one thing I was thinking about when I watched you in Alaska. One, you're so good. So good. Two, I'm very jealous of the way you write is perfect, in my opinion. Like the way you form a joke is great.
Oh, thank you.
Also, I'm jealous of your relationship with your family. Like his family, like his nice, happy family's got on the back of the record that he has. That's
Mm.
you never see that in comedy, which is great. And it's cool that it's like on your record. It makes me very happy. But the other thing I was gonna say is on paper, I shouldn't enjoy your comedy. Like I'm always like the happy guy or like the seeing like a positive thing or like doing like this. So like angry, what's the name of your album? The
Ugly
first
and
one?
angry.
Ugly and Angry. One, I don't think you're ugly, but like that's like a
I was
thing.
in that album though. I was on that record.
And then like mean, I'm like, I don't identify with like mean. And then you're like, you have a bit. I'm not gonna try to do it, but like you said, like hang your own television. And
Yeah.
I'm the guy that's like, no, just get a pro to do it. I have no pride. I'm not a handyman. I get other people that are good at hanging TVs and stuff.
Yeah.
So on paper, like none of, but I'm backstage and literally I was like tearing. Like this is so good. And I think that's what's awesome about comedy is like it's different than me, but I still like adore it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what I mean, I may say a lot of things and I may seem angry, but I don't. Even though the people I'm talking about are definitely in the room, I never acknowledge that. I'm always like, we need to change those people
Yeah.
that they're not here for
Right.
whatever reason.
I'm in the back going, yeah, hang your own TV.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
literally I paid for people to hang my TV.
While you're texting the guy, you're like, yeah, in the
Yeah.
center of the living room.
But I am laughing, going, yeah, those people are fucking losers. You've got to do your own stuff. Come on, man, be a man to hang a TV. But
So
like,
it's very much us against them. And also, like, even with hecklers, I don't call anyone names.
okay,
I don't put anyone down.
good.
It's always an us against them. And even when I deal with hecklers, I never am like, you're being a dumb cunt or
Right.
something like that. I'm always like, listen, I know you think you're adding to the show, but what you're really doing is messing it up for everyone that's sitting around you.
Sure.
Like I just explain it to them.
Yeah,
And thus I'm explaining it to the audience.
absolutely.
And they're like, oh. And then I just turn the audience against them. And that's why I feel like people get so mad at me is because there's no retort.
Sure. They're frustrated because they don't have.
Like they have nothing to say other than "fuck you,"
Yeah.
because all I'm using is logic. I'm not calling them stupid. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just saying
Because once you give them that, then they're gonna go, "Well, he called us stupid," and so that's
how
what. Yeah,
dare
exactly.
you? But if you're just like, this is what you're doing here, it's almost like an intervention. This is what you're doing. Here's how it's affecting the group, and this is what we need to do to stop it.
Don't you think that's a good life lesson though? Like just in your life, like when something bothers you, you can like communicate it to that person.
Yeah.
Like it's most like arguments and most things like you can go like, oh, I was being jealous. It was illogical, but like here's why, here's why I
Face
felt
it.
that way.
Absolutely.
And I was wrong feeling that way, but you did this thing that struck something like by just talking it out.
Absolutely.
And you're doing that with your audiences.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I tried to do it with my ex, and it didn't work as well.
Well, if she's not willing to hear it, I had a heckler recently in Texas. She made a huge scene, and the audience totally agreed with me. I was setting up a lengthy Jesus joke that everyone likes, that has a very positive
Yes.
conclusion. But I'm in Texas, and this lady saw me going down that path, and I think she expected me to take like make fun of. This was going to end like me making fun of Jesus, and so she goes, "No one's laughing." And so then I was just like, "You didn't even let me get to the joke." And then the whole crowd turned on her. And then I was like, "Yeah, but like, what? You can't wait 10 seconds for a joke? Or is it because of Jesus? Are you afraid like maybe I made fun of Jesus? Because it's not what I do." And like, just whatever. And she stormed out, her husband stormed out, this big thing. This has never happened to me in the history of a misunderstanding with an audience member. She Facebooked me like 2 days later, being like, "Hey, sorry about that."
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
I've had it happen twice where I had one girl tell me how bad I'd fucked up her birthday for what, and I know what it was. I was doing, do you ever do Omaha? The Funny Bone?
Yeah.
And then do you ever do the one-nighter up in
Cedar Rapids, Sioux City, Iowa.
The Hard Rock, yeah.
It's brutal.
So I went up there and this chick came up to me and like there's a line of people and she just fucking cuts the line and like, "I want you to come hang out with me." And I'm like, "I can't. I got to drive back to Omaha because I got to do radio in the morning."
Which is the worst part of that gig.
Which is the worst
the Hard
part of
Rock,
that.
they give you this beautiful room.
Yeah.
You don't get to sleep in
You're
it
in there
because they
about-
need you to do press in Omaha. So you have to drive. That's when I listen to that podcast, the S-Town or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Because like I might fall asleep and I've had a couple whiskeys. Do you have a podcast I can listen to while I drive 4 hours? Or whatever?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's the worst. So this chick tells me to go fuck myself. I get an email, a Facebook message from her like, "You ruined my birthday. You're a giant piece of shit, whatever. And I was just like, "You ruined my birthday." And then I just typed "happy birthday." And she was like, "You would say that." and then the next day I get this message like, "Super sorry about what happened.
Oh, nice.
I was super drunk."
Logic came through for her.
Yeah. But that's a lot of people, you got to give those people credit because a lot of people would wake up and go, "Oh, I was drunk. Fuck that guy." You know, like
Yes.
they just they'd stick to it.
Now that you told me this, I think that what happened was that the lady went home and either the next day or that night did write, "You're a douchebag. You weren't funny. No one was laughing. I was just saying no one was laughing." And then you got vicious with me. At least she blew it all out of proportion. And then days later wrote that.
But what I don't get is like, there's no way that is the first time that either one of those people
No.
has had an incident where drinking has caused them to lose their shit and make a complete ass out of themselves. So it's like, and I've been very fortunate to where that's never really happened to me. And I think if it did, I would stop
Absolutely.
fucking drinking.
Yeah, if it's making you a social paraquat, like maybe give up drinking. For
Well,
a
it's
little while.
sending you home
Yeah.
because it gets you so riled up that you can't sit in a room and enjoy things with people.
Ugh. Well, and I also like think about like that. Like what I really pity is that husband who now he has to drive home with her, however long that drive is.
Yeah.
She's fired up. She's
Yeah.
embarrassed. She's upset. And now that husband or the boyfriend of the girl with the birthday, maybe she had a whole birthday party with her. They're going to convince themselves you did something or I did something. They're not going to be like, maybe I shouldn't have said that first thing. Like they're going to go home be like, wow, he's a piece of shit. And
Yeah.
he wasn't funny. And I've never heard of him. Like they're going to commit that drive must be brutal.
And that guy, all that guy do is trying to turn that anger into the best fuck of his life.
Well, then that
He's
God
like, there's
bless him. if
got to be
that's
a
what
way
it-
where I can just make
Godspeed.
this to where
Yeah,
she.
I'm into. If he does that, that
God.
makes me happy. I'll be the martyr.
You're
for
right,
that.
babe. You're right. He's the worst. You know what you should do to get back at him? Fuck the shit out of the first
Exactly.
person you see.
I'll cheer you up.
Wingman.
There's
Jeff.
no one else in this car.
Well, there's no one else in this car. We are married, so
That would be a deterrent, I think, nowadays.
Yeah.
Can it be
Not
someone
back
else? This is
here.
your idea.
I'll download an app where it doesn't have to be you.
I don't know. Are you close to being married? What's the closest you've been to being married? This will be a subject I always address. I'm fascinated by married people.
so I guess the closest I've ever been to.
Also,
getting-
you don't have to talk about it if you don't want. I don't ever want to be that guy. That's
Like, well, I dated my last girlfriend for 2 years, but like I left because I was like, oh, I don't want to marry you.
Mhm.
But I was friends with a girl and she was away, like she lived away, and we were very flirtatious. And then she moved out here, and we started dating. And I was like, oh, well, if this works out, like it's over. Like I was just that into her.
nice.
And then it didn't work out. It turned
Hmm.
out she was pretty crazy.
Well, and also it's so much easier when they're far away. Like
Yeah.
the romanticize of like, oh, if you were here, but then you're getting like 20 things done that day. But the truth is, if she was there, you'd have gotten 0 things done that day, and you'd have been pumpkin patch, taking photos at the pumpkin patch, like and picking pumpkins for your stupid Halloween Instagram post, like that. Like,
Well-
it's in your brain. You're like, oh, I would love to be.
This
there.
would have been so great because like her schedule was fucking perfect. She was a news reporter, so she had to be up at like 1 a.m. and would work all day. So like we only hung out from like 3 to 7,
Yeah.
and then she would have to go to sleep. And I'm like, this is perfect. But the problem was she hated her job. She wasn't in a good place emotionally. She was crying all the fucking time.
Oh no.
And like she was just, it was
Hating
just,
your job is
yeah, especially
a
when it's
big one.
that self-involved, when it's that involved, it takes so much of your time.
100%.
And then, yeah, so it was just poor timing, but I think for the best, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the closest you've ever been to getting married, Aaron? I think I know, but you just don't want to talk about it.
He was on ecstasy.
I was arrested. I don't know. I've never been engaged, so I don't think there's.
Yeah.
I had one girl really, really pressure me into it, and that's why I broke up with her.
Oh,
So that
nice.
would probably be
Good
the
man.
closest.
So if she was like, if you talked to her, if you were like, why'd you? She'd be like, oh, he just didn't want to get married. That would be her reason.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. It was just like it came to a point where like we dated for years, and she was like, "Well, we're gonna get married," and I was like,
You just told her. You
Yeah.
weren't like, hey, babe, look, let's not talk about that. Maybe someday let's just see where this goes. You just went, no.
"Yeah," just like, "No, I don't think so." And then like a month
No.
later, I was because we were living together. Like a month later, I was like, "I'm moving out," and then she was just like, "Okay," and
Oh, no.
I know exactly. Like she was pissed, but
Yeah.
what am I gonna do at that point? It's like, no, she clearly wants to be married. Let her go find that road.
Yeah.
In my
And
brain.
good for you, by the way. Just because, like, I know so many marriages that, like, I feel like to get married just because, like, they're like, oh, we're in a relationship. We're kind of bored.
Right.
I guess we should get married.
Here's an
Yeah.
exciting
Well, that sounds
thing
like it's
we
gonna be
can-
the
yeah.
worst marriage ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I was bored in the relationship already.
Yep.
And so you're just like, well, wait a second. What am I going to do? Just
So
have the
the-
most boring marriage?
So then they get married, and then that's a year of planning it. So that gives them something to do. So maybe the relationship's a little more exciting. Then they get married, they get back from the honeymoon, and 100 days later, they're like, oh, this relationship's boring again.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then what's next?
I think the average person does exactly what you just said. They get engaged because that's an exciting thing. You get the Instagram post, you get the ring, you get the, oh, I was nervous and I asked her like this, and all your boys are like, yeah, bachelor party, I'm your guy, best man. So it's all those are very exciting things, and also gets this dopamine release like on Facebook of like, oh, I'm doing this. And then the actual wedding happens. That's another big pop. Oh, everybody came to the wedding. It was a big party. Here's the pictures. Here's the whatever. But and then you get in these lulls of like, oh, well, I haven't had any excitement. People aren't congratulating me for anything.
Yeah.
But I have a baby.
So you have a baby.
So you have a baby.
But now you've brought a life into the world.
And then you realize that, no, you just don't really like each other.
Yeah. And then you're like, well, I don't know. Like now you're talking to people on social. Like it's the same pattern in most of the people's lives that I know back home.
So that's why when I see people that are like, we dated for a while and she wanted to get married and I didn't want to, so we moved on. I was like, good,
Yeah,
because that would have ended up in a sad kid.
absolutely.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, when I just know myself so well, I think I've literally never even been close to marriage. I've been close to my brain once, where I was like, "Oh, I really like this one," and if it works out. But I think I also knew like we're not gonna. It's not, like I knew it wasn't, so that's why I let myself go there in my brain.
It's real easy to say it day 3.
Oh yeah,
Like, man, if this chick and I work out after this first date,
Chris,
yeah.
I say it to this day. I go, hey, if it didn't work out with her, it's never gonna work out with any woman. That's how I see it in my brain. Because in my brain, she is still the only woman that I've ever like even been close to loving.
Oh, see, no, me, I just have such a quick heart. Like, I went out with a girl the other night, a girl I've known for like 10 years. And like, we went out, we had a great time. I'm like, yeah, man, if we start dating, it's over. And then like the next day, I'm
like
like,
a sports car, just fast right out the
Yeah,
gates,
just-
and then
I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't afford these terms.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I can't. Insurance is how much? Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things Doug Stanhope ever said. Was he said, "I've never loved anything so much that I'm like, well, let's bring the government in on this shit." And that is literally what marriage is. Like you're like, oh, let's make this. But the hard part about now bringing the government into your relationship is you're like basically saying like, oh, now if it doesn't work out, we'll just ruin each other financially. You know, now I'm heartbroken and homeless. Like people, it's almost a lot of marriages I witness. And if you're listening to this and you're married, I hope I'm not offending you.
Unsubscribe if you're married.
No, I'm just
This
saying
isn't
like
for
this.
you.
This isn't speaking to good marriages or healthy marriages, but I do think a big part of marriages that I witness that are negative are about it's just codependency. Like my mom and dad are, they're fine. They're not. I don't see them making out and going, "Oh,
yeah.
God, I did."
Nobody makes out
10
with their wife
days-
after that many years.
I know,
Oh,
my-
shouldn't it?
Dude,
Why
my pa-
shouldn't you?
My
I know, but
parents
who
make
the fuck
out.
does? You
I
think
but
your
they
parents
do it
make
a lot
out?
just to gross us out, I feel like.
Hey, Chris.
That's
Dude,
hilarious.
back when we were when I could drive, when I first started being able to drive, my parents milked the shit out of that. They would get hammered at parties and I'd have to drive them home.
Yeah.
And so my sister would be in the front with us and we'd just be like driving. They'd be hammered in the back and they'd kiss. And my sister would be like, oh, gross. And they'd be like, oh, you think that's gross?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh.
Oh God, Dad's fingering mom. Just to make a point, like
Just to
Too
make
far.
a point.
yeah, we're grossing them out, huh?
Oh.
They are our kids. We can do whatever we want. Well, that's the thing about it is like I feel like it's a weird thing that people do, and they go, if it doesn't work out, it's like it's a pretty big deal if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then the girls are like so much more romantic about it. Like every girl I've ever been like, well, I believe that love can exist. But then they say things like you just said. Oh, they don't still make out. But why not? Why? I believe that you should. If you really loved someone for like that doesn't seem that far fetched.
I mean, I can't make these people make out, Jeff.
Dude.
I've tried.
You got to make them make out. That's what I say. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I just love that you guys are here, and I love this podcast. Chris, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, brother. I love hanging out all the time.
Yeah, well, I would love to. I think we've decided a podcast field trip. If you can set us up with that place where we can do that drug.
Oh, DMT.
Yeah,
Oh,
it'll be a podcast field trip. I'm making Marsh go, and you can at least watch us, make sure that we're not dying.
I'll film it.
Tony.
Yeah.
We need
And
to
if
find
Chris wants to
DMT.
do it again, I'll pay for it since it's free. I think.
We need to find DMT here in LA because where I get it, it's not here in LA.
Oh well, earlier. Wait, where did you did it in a different state?
Yes.
So earlier when I said you're the opposite of Sean Waltman or X-Pac, is a reference to an earlier episode. Sean, one of the nicest guys in the world, pro wrestler, used to be the 1-2-3 kid.
Okay.
He is such an open book that he was like, oh man, I know I used to buy cocaine from a guy who lived like a few blocks down.
On Moore Park. He said the street.
Yeah, and I go, oh, yeah, we're like, oh, like that. And then he started naming the street, and I think he gave us a first name unintentionally. We're like, no, hey, Sean.
Yeah.
So you were great. You're like, oh, it was a place that I was at, and it's a like,
Absolutely.
like
Well, I know
Sean.
I can go back if I don't say anything.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now, once the mics are off, I'll tell you who,
Yeah.
where, what, and when.
But it wasn't in California, so that might be a little tougher for us.
But I'm sure it's fucking Los Angeles.
Yeah,
we'll
there's
be able
gotta
to
be a
find
place.
DMT.
Is there a comedy club close by to it?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't go to places that don't have comedy clubs,
Exactly.
except Maui.
It's funny that everyone's like, you're so well traveled, Jeff. I haven't traveled anywhere that didn't fly me there to tell jokes or
Yeah.
to do the show on NBC.
Oh yeah.
That's the only reason I'm traveled. But with the exception of Mexico, I've gone nowhere that was outside of comedy.
But that's also
No, but you
because
went to Mexico
fly.
for the comedy festival.
I know, but I've been to Mexico other times
Okay.
where I wasn't trying to just go.
But that's also because you fly so much because of comedy.
yeah, exactly.
Your idea of a vacation is to be in your condo,
Exactly.
fucking not having to leave.
I'm taking a weekend off soon from stand up for the first time in ages. And that's my plan. Is I'm going to stay here, maybe go to a Dodgers game. I'm gonna
Yeah.
maybe record
sounds
some of
cool.
these, hang some crap.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all I want to do.
Invite
is
me
like-
over. We'll test some
Oh,
weed.
Tony, you
Yeah,
know what we
oh,
do?
yeah.
Weed and movies.
You like video games?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, it's gonna be good
Chris
times.
Porter. Well, plug you. When this goes up, we'll plug what your dates are going to be at the time in case some things change or in case we don't know when this is going to go on.
Okay.
But where can they find you on social media?
I am Chris Porter is my handle at both Twitter and Instagram, and my website is chrisportercomedy.com.
And he has also vinyl records, which I adore,
Oh,
and it's so on
nice.
brand for you.
Oh, yeah.
Where you can just download his album, which he has 2 albums. You can download either of them, but you can also buy the vinyl version, which I think is so much better. If they buy it, will you sign? Do you sign them before you send
Well,
them
I
out?
mean, if you buy them off Amazon, I don't really have the opportunity.
right.
But
But if you buy it off your website,
if you buy it off my no, I don't
Nope.
sell them off my website.
they gotta
Live.
go, then they got to go to a show.
Then
You
they have to go to
a show
If you want
get
me
the
to
autograph
sign
on.
them, yeah, but you can buy it off Amazon and then bring it to a show.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfecto. Aaron, you want to plug your stuff again?
Aaron M. Marsh. That's it. It's on
That's it,
everything.
on everything. Tony,
I am Tony Reavis.
cool. Subscribe to the Patreon,
He is.
guys. Thanks for listening. Big thanks to my friends and my special friend this week, Chris Porter. Love you, buddy. Thanks
you,
for
bro.
being here, guys.
Friendship.
How fun was that? A great episode with Tony Reavis, Aaron Marsh, and Chris Porter. He's really inspired us to do some drugs and you know write some new material about things and maybe approach jokes in a different way. Thank you, Chris Porter. We love you. We loved having you. Long after you left the studio, we were talking about how cool you are and how chill you are. And I might miss the curls and the bell bottoms, but I love you, brother. If you are watching this podcast on patreon.com, we love you. Thank you. Big shout out to all the patrons. If you're not and you'd like to watch it, go to patreon.com/Jeff Dye and subscribe, and you can watch the podcast, or you can listen to the podcast anywhere podcasts are available by just searching Jeff Dye's Friendship. And please rate and subscribe and comment below. This week, I'm at Moon Tower Comedy Festival. I think Chris Porter is going to be there also in Austin, Texas. So come check us out in Austin, Texas. Come say what's up. Tell us you love the podcast or just chill and we'll buy you a beer. But thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We're happy that you enjoy it because we enjoy making it. Big critter kisses to all you guys.